Hello and welcome back to High School History, and today I'm back with the next video in expected questions in your class 12 board exams of 2020 in the subject of history. Today we're going to be talking about theme 7, which is the third chapter in book 2, which is called the Imperial Capital Vijayanagara. Before we move ahead, just to quickly remind you, this presentation does not cover all the questions. It is only estimates based on previous year's questions, so don't limit yourself to just these. If you're a high scorer, definitely study your textbook far more thoroughly. If you've been liking my series of videos all through these weeks, do like and subscribe and share this video as well. If you wish to join a closed Facebook group where we discuss question answers, do sign up, and I'm going to put the link in the description below. And if you have any specific questions from this chapter, don't forget to comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So let's start for the day. Page 170 to 171, we have a quick discussion on the discovery of Hampi, how it was discovered by Colin Mackenzie, how he spoke to the priests of Virupaksha and Pampa Devi to get more information, and what was the role of Colin Mackenzie in this whole discovery of Hampi. And then, of course, there is a quick section on who were the founders of the Vijayanagara Empire and when it was founded. So any of these questions can come for either 1 or 3 marks. Page 173, we have a discussion on Krishnadevaraya, expansion and consolidation of the empire under him, and then the same section also talks about the final decline of the Vijayanagara Empire and the probable causes. These can come for 1, 3 or 8 mark questions. Then you have, of course, the Amarnayaka system on page 175. You generally get very straightforward questions from here. So you could get just a 1 marker, 3 marker or 8 marker. So read the question carefully to figure out what you are expected to write. For example, now you could get a 1 marker asking you to define what Amarnayaka meant. So you can use this particular pink box as material for the definition of the term Amarnayaka. So you will need to describe the Amarnayaka system and how it was derived from the Ikta system of the Delhi Sultanate. Page 177 to 178, here you have management of water resources, how had the Vijayanagar rulers organized water management to make sure that everyone got enough water, given the fact that this area is also quite arid and it has no perennial rivers, it only has rain-fed rivers, right? So this becomes very, very important for rulers to pay attention to. Then, of course, there's a section on fortifications and roads and how we can identify them. And you may get a HOTS question where you will get a quoted sentence, perhaps something like Abdul Razak was greatly impressed with fortifications at Hampi. You may be asked why, or to explain, or to justify, or to elaborate. So then you need to go into all the details about, you have to look at all the fortifications of Hampi and talk about them. There's also a section on the agrarian fields within fortifications. Why would they want to do something which requires so much manpower and money? So you could get a question on that, and all of these could either come for 1, 3 or 8 marks. Page 179 is a discussion on the urban core, what it was, what was the layout of the urban core. Mainly, it was the people of Hampi who lived here, but the fact that they also had some merchant quarters must be mentioned. And here also there is a section on water management, especially rainwater harvesting tanks and wells. This section most likely will feature only 1 or 3 markers. It is unlikely to get an 8 marks unless it is tagged with another question. Page 180 to 181, there is a discussion on the Mahanavbin Dippa. So there's a controversy about what was the purpose, so you must know all of that. And in your answer, you must not forget to mention the dimensions as well. So this will come for either 1 or 3 marks. Unlikely that it will be an 8 marker unless it is accompanied by the next section as well on page 181 183, which will include the Lotus Mahal and Hazar Ram temple. So if you have the Royal Center and say, okay, all of the layout and all of the architecture in the Royal Center, then it could come as a 8 marker. Otherwise, if they're looking at each of these features as individual, they will most likely be for 3 marks only. Then coming to the Sacred Center on page 184, there is a discussion on why Hampi was chosen as the capital. What was the importance of choosing this as the site to house your capital. So there is a discussion on that, and including religious connections that it had from not only Brahmanism but also Buddhism and Jainism. You may get a question which again is a statement based one where they say temples developed as significant religious, social, and cultural economic centers. Elaborate. So here you'll have to talk about how the temple encourages the economy of the space. In the last bit of the chapter as well, where you have a very detailed discussion of temple architecture, you may pick up points from there as well. So again, questions from this section could be for 1, 3, or 8 marks. Then we move to page 185 to 187. Here you start talking about the distinctive features of the temples of the Vijayanagara rulers, specific features of Gopuram and Mandapas. You may be asked to differentiate between them as well. What was the purpose of these Gopurams and Mandapas is something that you should know. You must also know who built these buildings, who commissioned. Often it was even the Nayakas or the Amar Nayakas who commissioned various Gopurams of temples, right? So you must mention this as well. It is an important point that not just kings but even their subsidiaries built temples. Page 188 specifically talks about the features of the Vithala temple. Again, this might come for a 3-mark question. Then pages 188 to 190, you have the section of how palaces, temples, and bazaars are plotted. It's this whole description on how each of the archaeological sites is divided into quadrants, how they are numbered and alphabeted. So this is something that you may get a question on. They could even come as a picture analysis where you're given a topo sheet like this, an archaeological map like this, and then you are supposed to answer a few questions based on that. So this section, because it's not too detailed, would most likely come for 1 or 3 markers. Then you have pages 191 and 192 where you ask the questions, what can these buildings tell us? So there are details about what you can know about people's religious beliefs, what they considered important, what was unimportant, and so on. And then, of course, a question on what did the ordinary people think about these monumental structures? How did they connect themselves with these structures, probably which were built decades or even centuries before they were born? This part can also come for 3 marks. So with this, we come to the end of today's presentation, and this was made using one of the Slide Mania templates. They are freely available for you. Create Microsoft PowerPoint presentations or Google Slides. All the best, and bye-bye till next time.